Violent, violent volcanoes, volcanoes. What do you think of when you hear the word volcano? You probably think of a cone-shaped mountain erupting with fire and smoke. This is true of some volcanoes, but there is a lot more to understand. Volcanoes can have different shapes and sizes. Some erupt suddenly and violently, while others quietly erupt all the time. So what exactly is a volcano? The word comes from Vulcan, the Roman god of fire. It is a gap or vent in the Earth's crust that lets magma through. To explain how a volcano is formed, we need to think about the plates. Remember that they are pulled and pushed about by convection currents in the mantle. Where two or more plates meet, volcanoes appear. If two plates are pulled apart, a gap appears between them. This is common under the sea, where the crust is thinner. Magma bubbles up through the gap, hits the cold seawater, and cools to a solid. In this way, long chains of volcanoes are formed on the seabed. They normally erupt gently and are long, low, and thin. If two plates are pushed together, one of them may go underneath the other. That part of the crust melts and turns into magma. The magma finds its way onto the surface through a crack. If there is not a crack, the magma begins to gather beneath the crust. It pushes upward until, at last, the magma bursts out. This is a volcanic eruption. When magma appears on the Earth's surface, it is called lava. It moves like a river of melted rock called a lava flow. All lava is dangerous, but there are different types. The danger to human life depends on how far and fast the lava flows. Some lava is thick and moves slowly. The surface cools quite quickly and forms a hard, spiky surface. Other types of lava are thinner and less sticky. They move more quickly and pour out of volcanoes in great rivers. When the lava cools, it forms rocks such as basalt and granite. Basalt is especially common beneath the sea, where the lava cools quickly. Granite is very hard, and it is often used as a building material. But it is not only lava that is thrown out by an erupting volcano. Some volcanoes also send out clouds of ash and dust. The ash goes into the air and falls down onto the ground. Sometimes it falls close to the volcano and makes it difficult for people to breathe. The tiny specks of dust and rock get into their lungs. If the ash is thick enough, it blocks sunlight for a while. It forms a thick layer on cars, houses, and crops. The ash can go higher into the air and travel to other countries. In 2010, a volcano in Iceland produced an ash cloud. It forced many airports in Europe to close. It was too dangerous to fly aircraft because the ash could get into the engines. Flashes of lightning are often seen in these ash clouds. Tiny pieces of dust and rock rub together very quickly. This makes electricity which leaps out of the cloud as lightning. Since most people won't go near a volcano during an eruption, this is not dangerous. However, there is something far more deadly that may happen. It is something that can kill thousands of people in seconds. It is something so fast-moving that nobody can outrun it. It is something so hot that it will instantly burn up trees, animals, and people. It is a deadly current of hot, toxic gas and rock. It pours down the slopes of a volcano. It may pick up large rocks and tree trunks and carry them along. It can destroy entire towns and cities. In 1902, a volcano erupted on the island of Martinique. The toxic flow destroyed the capital city. 30,000 people were killed almost instantly. In 79 AD, a similar flow of gas and rock came from Mount Vesuvius in Italy. It destroyed the Roman town of Pompeii. The flow killed all of the people and animals. Their bodies were covered in deep layers of ash. They lay hidden for centuries until archaeologists discovered their remains. Where the bodies had been, there were hollows in the hard ash. They were the shapes of people, animals, food, and tools. The archaeologists made plaster casts of them and learned a lot about life in Roman times. Sometimes the stones and dirt in such a toxic flow can mix with water. They form a deadly river of mud called a lahar. You may not think that mud can be lethal, but it moves very quickly. The mud flows up to 160 kilometers per hour, and it can be up to 140 meters deep. It covers everything in its path. Vehicles and buildings are swept away. Farmland and crops are buried. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines. A lahar killed hundreds of people and left 1 million others homeless. The precious rice fields were destroyed. People had no way to earn a living. The mud buried entire cities, and there is still a lot of ash on the slopes of the volcano. When there is heavy rain, this ash turns into mud and begins to flow again. Even now, more than 20 years later, the danger is still there.